Three, two, one. Welcome back to the Buckhouse Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Benjamin Buckhouse, alongside Johnathan Buckhouse right over here. We are two brothers that get together once a week and just catch up, talk about things that we're interested in. We're interested in snowboarding, video games, sports, social media, things along those lines. Johnathan is a snowboarding YouTuber. I am a streamer, content creator, and also have a full-time job. From there, I don't even know where to start this week, bro. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't even know where to start. Do you have anything new going on? I know where to start. I know where to start. You said last week that you wanted to kind of go back into making daily content by posting kind of casual videos of you just doing runs. How's the feedback on that? How are you feeling about that, bro?
Yeah, so two things. If you want to do content creation, you just have to try things all the time, nonstop. And when you come up with an idea and you feel like it's the right thing, go for it and try it. And you will get the feedback, whether it's a good or bad thing, and you should stop doing it. So I mentioned that I wanted to do that, and I immediately implemented it. Like literally that same day, I went out and filmed 2 of the runs, and I've posted them. I think they're fine. I'm excited for the one that's going to go up tomorrow. No, on Thursday. That's the thing is I technically will be posting 3 a week to fill in those days because I'm still going to do live streams 2 days a week, vlogs 3 days a week, and then 2. Did I say 3? It's only 2 a week of these top to bottom runs, and where I explain the runs at my local ski resorts, which I live next to big ski resorts like Breckenridge, Vail, Copper, Keystone. So I have some really impressive ski resorts to go like showcase the runs of. And it's just me like, hey, I like this run at Keystone. Let me show you what's good about it. Let me show you what's bad about it. What do you need to look out for? Things like that. And so if you're coming to Keystone, not only can you find my channel and get a lot of good information on how to ski and so work like that, but if you're really into a single resort, you should be able to eventually watch a lot of the runs, the main runs at that resort. And the idea was this very unedited vlog, but not a vlog style, like, hey, Jake, this is me. I know a lot about snowboarding. Let's go talk about it on a run. And I think it's worked. I think that one of the biggest things is I've sold a ton of Insta360 cameras, which was nice. Because as I'm like doing it, I'm like, by the way, like how this is being filmed or any of my gear, like any of my stuff, Evolution stickers are all in the description. So I've sold, I think in the 2 videos I've posted, they haven't gotten crazy amounts of views. I have moved a decent amount of cameras. So that's a really rad aspect of it. And the first one did pretty well, but it was like a pretty well-known run. The second one, which is Mozart, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I didn't feel like I was doing enough in my peak season, which is, December, January, February. Like that's like peak ski season for me. So I felt like I was leaving a lot on the table. I felt like this is a style that would totally work. And then on top of all of that, like I literally cannot keep up anymore, especially with filming in 360 a lot because I don't have a filmer anymore with the daily vlogging. Like if I was trying to do the daily vlogging, it would obliterate me. But this is a way for me to keep up with a main long form piece of content every day of the week without overloading my workflow, if that makes sense.
Yeah, considering it is your busiest time, like I didn't really kind of put 2 and 2 together that it's like your busiest time, and you this year, because you started this kind of in October, November time of like doing the 3 long form videos instead of the 7, or 6 in one stream, right? So during your busiest time you decided to slow down, and that's kind of like the opposite. So no, I think it's good that you saw that you needed to change, and then you went ahead and did it. And we've talked about it so much on the podcast, and I love that you kind of started the conversation that way of like so much of social media and just so much of life is just start. Just you just have to do it. And instead of thinking about it, instead of overthinking about it, instead of asking so many questions about it, just go ahead and try it and see where it goes. And I'm looking at your analytics right now, and I mean, yeah, the Spring Dipper one literally outperformed or is the best out of your last 5 videos, and so like that's great.
And it took the least amount of time to make, and you don't know what's going to do well. It could be a very basic, super easy edited video that can do extremely well. And I haven't even done like a very popular run yet. Like I go do like Go Devil, or I go do
School
like
Marm.
a School Marm. But seriously, like it's really, it's frustrating because what people want to see online has changed. And also things that people used to search that would do very well have been made a trillion times now. I used to have like the only like Keystone Area 51 terrain park snowboarding. Like there wasn't like a bunch of videos like that. So I would make that title 3-4 times. It'd get like 30,000 views. If I made snowboarding Keystone Area 51 today, and that's what I posted, and I had me like slaying a rail, that video would get like 1,000 views.
That is the nature of the game, right? It's I think it's different for you because to give backstory to anyone that does not know, Johnathan and I created the YouTube channel in 2016 with this style of vlogging and snowboarding at the same time. It was an idea that we came up with, and we just did it. Once again, we just did it. And at the time there was
but no purpose behind it. Like we just, we weren't trying to be famous or make money. We just did it.
Yeah. And at the time there was a handful, like literally I'm trying to backtrack and you be able to do it better than me, but like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 snowboarding content creators. 2?
Those are 2. There was Snowboard Addiction and Snowboard Pro Game.
But what about Ryan Napton and then Angry Snowboarder?
Because Ryan started the same year as we did, and then the Angry Influencer was a thing, but he wasn't like making YouTube content.
Okay. So
like he had like a blog post.
So once again, Johnathan would know better than I, but yeah. So there was 2 snowboarding channels out there, and then along came us. So for Johnathan here, doing it 9 years later, yeah, the game has changed. I remember we inspired, at least I know of like 2 people that we directly inspired, Matt Minianci and David Jones, to like do the same thing as us, the snowboard vlogging, right? And so after that, just so many other people have also joined, and that's awesome that you created this community. Essentially, like you pioneered this community. But yeah, the game changes. The game changes, just like you're saying right now, where it's like, yeah, if you post a A51 video, which is pretty much all that we did season 1 was A51, but if you post an A51 video, it just doesn't do the same. Or if you post really any when in season 1, our vlogs were pretty much just like, we go to the mountain, if something happens, cool, if not, hey, we're on the mountain. Now you can't really do that. You gotta go and like, my buddy built this crazy snowboard with an electric motor on it, like you can't just
that cuts carrots and squares.
Yeah. So the game has changed, but I'm going to touch on something that you have talked about in previous podcasts, going back to a video game conversation where you found it frustrating in our favorite video game, Halo, that like you could be a top player in Halo 2 and then Halo 3 comes out and all of a sudden you're not a top player, or vice versa, like, going from Halo 3 to Halo Reach, being a top player to not a top player. And I said, I think that the best players are the players that can go from game to game and continue to do well. And to put it in a different analogy is like Tom Brady with the 3 generations of football that he played in, right? To be able to win Super Bowls and, from the 2000s to the 2020s, like he is a dominant person. And in order to be a dominant
Throw on top of another team too.
Yeah. And in order for you to be a dominant YouTuber, bro, you have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to be dominant across all the genres. You know, you have to, or not all the genres, but you know, like you have to be going with the changes. You have to roll with the punches. You have to sit here and be able to go from being the pioneer, the one of 3 people making content, to then being the one of 1,000 people making content and still stand out. And I think that you're figuring that out.
Yeah, I had that thought. So looking at like snowboard landscape, okay, what are people doing? And I've inspired a lot of these other people that are making snowboard content, and I love it. Do it, try it, make vlogs, make shorts, go for it. But what? And once again, like I am starting to do really well on Instagram and TikTok. On like the last 28 days for like the last month, I've been at like 13 million views on both of them. So like those things, like those short form platforms are doing crazy well with the posting 3 shorts a day and stuff like that. So like I got myself into that game. Now hopefully that can grow and do very well, you know. But with YouTube, like that's how I've been able to do this for a living for so long. So many people blow up on TikTok or Instagram, and now they're like sick. Like I'm known, but I'm not really making much money. So like, if you want to do it for a living, you got to figure out YouTube. And I've been able to figure out YouTube first. And then now I'm like, okay, I guess I will take these other platforms more serious. So it's funny too, because I like keep going to these influencer events, and like everyone's only popular on Instagram. And they're like, what do you mean? Like you have that many YouTube followers? Like, how'd you do that? And like, anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. So with YouTube, I'm okay. Anyone can make a vlog. Anyone can do this. But no one's making like run breakdowns. No one knows runs specifically at like at least Keystone, like better than me. And no one can hit record and just talk about snowboarding as well as I can. As fluid, with the knowledge that I've created or achieved over the last almost decade. You know, like I can just flip on this camera. I know how to angle it. I know how to keep it entertaining. And I know how to speak fluidly and describe this run we're going on, and just like take them on a journey of like, hey, let's go ride this run. And by the way, like there's some really good side hits over here. And by the way, the snow's turning like this. And I really like to carve extra hard here and show off my skills and be like, one reason I'm snowboarding so well is because, you know, I'm on the Burton Custom and it's one of the best snowboards to get. So if you want to get that, grab it here. By the way, here's the rest area if you need to take your break now. Oh, also it gets really icy on this turn, so look out for that. Oh, you like how I'm filming this, by the way, too? You should snag it into 360. It's a great camera. And then towards the end, it's like, if you really enjoyed this run, you want to support me, I have an Evolution sticker. You can snag it here. And then, you know, like I just did that on this camera, like very fluidly, whatever. Like, give me like 8 to 10 minutes now to do it again. Like I've developed the skill to pre-think the sentences or like say what's going to be entertaining to the audience. People don't have that. So to create a uncut, very raw, very natural, what it would be like if you went and actually did a run with me, and I'm just like, hey, check this out. Hey, come over here. Hey, look at this. That doesn't exist right now on YouTube. And so I'm going to try and build that.
Yeah, I think we touched on it on like what I'm most excited for about this, like this style is just how raw it's going to be. Because so much of like going back to the conversation about how you have to adapt and change and everything. And it's like, I do think that people are getting overwhelmed with the like overly edited, overly YouTubified videos, like the super flashy, super poppy, you know, subtitles in your face and jump cuts and like all this stuff and the crazy, what's going on? You know, I think that people are getting overwhelmed by it. People are getting kind of over it and they want a more personal experience. And I think that that's exactly what this offers. This offers you to be that chill guy, like come ride with me, come hang out with me and like get to know Johnathan better type of experience. And I know that you have a lot of those dedicated fans. That's the word I'm going to choose to use here. Those dedicated fans that do actually know you. You know, they've met you multiple times, or they've gone to your meet and waxes, and they get to know you on a different level. But now they really get to have like 10 minutes straight of just Johnathan, and like I'm just hanging out with Johnathan, and that's like a really special experience probably for them, because it's different than what they're getting from any other YouTube content of like a highly edited, highly planned, scripted, refilmed type of experience. And I think that that's really special, bro. And I'm happy that I'm really happy that you came up with that idea. And I hope the best for it.
Yeah, and like with the keeping it raw, you mentioned it. Like when I was doing Mozart, I call it Mozart, but it's Mozart. When I was doing the intro, I got stopped twice and like took a photo with one kid. You know, it's like just keeping it all in there, just keeping it raw, keeping it real, and just see where it goes. And I think that's one reason why short form has done so well, is because, you know, Joe Blow might record something that's so raw, and then they put it on TikTok, and people are actually kind of looking for that realness, that real video, that one person just sharing their real thoughts. You know, I think shorts, in a way, which is good, have become that. As much as like, yes, it's mind numbing, it's swiping, whatever. You will find gem videos, the ones I think that do the most well, or the wellest, the best, the baddest. The ones that do great are just raw videos of someone being real. I know personally, I just posted a really real video with me and Roman. Did you see it? Where he says a cuss word?
I don't think I have. Now I need to. Is it Instagram?
Oh, it's on Instagram. It's on TikTok. It's blowing up. It's doing so well. It strokes my dad ego.
I don't even know what that means.
Go read the comments. 1, 2. It would be technically 3 days ago. So if you count in chunks of 3, bro. So 1, 2. It's the middle one down.
Well, I'm on my computer, so it's a little bit different. Is it the one where he's on the ground, or is it the one where you guys are going through the trees?
He's on the ground and I bent over.
Yeah, that one. Okay, give me a second.
Watch it real quick, and we'll jump back to the podcast.
Ow! I got.
Come over this way. Dude, you fell. It's okay.
Damn it! I want to do this job.
Okay, so hold on. Settle down. Relax.
I wanted to do that job.
You want to do that jump? So unstrap your board. Sit down. Stop crying. Unstrap. You can be pissed. Come on, be pissed. Unstrap. Grab your board and walk back up there.
No, I don't want to carry it. I don't want to carry it.
Oh, Roman, I gotta carry my board.
I just don't want to carry it.
You can strap in and you can not hit the jumps, or you can relax, breathe. I'm not carrying your board. You're carrying your board. Don't drop
I don't want to carry my board.
Hey, dude, a lot of times you gotta do stuff you don't want to do. Hey, it happens, man. We can go through this whole experience though without crying. Okay?
My hands are tired.
Okay, we're almost to the top. Hang tight. Do not drop that snowboard, or it's gonna go all the way down the hill without you.
I want somebody to
So take a break. Take a break. No one's gonna carry it up there for you. Gotta be tough. Breathe. When you feel like you got the strength to get up there, you're almost to the top. Well, let's do it. Come on, you got this, dude. Almost to the top, man. over this way and strap in. A little more this way. A little more this way. A little more this way. All right, there you go. Careful dropping your board on the mountain.
I'm at the point where you're at the top of the mountain. And I'm reading the comments. I'm surprised not many people posted about like him say like they posted about him saying "damn it," but like not that much of it.
Yeah, I mean TikTok has Instagram it hit like 35,000 views. TikTok it's about to hit 1 million, and on TikTok TikTok has 878,000 views and almost 2,000 comments. So a lot more opinions on TikTok.
I'm on the Instagram side of things. A lot of people are complimenting you on being a good being a good dad, and it is a good dad moment, bro. But him saying "damn it" was so because he just like, damn it.
For any of the listeners out there, that is his mother coming out.
No, it's great. It's great. I miss you guys so much.
You gotta come around with him. He's getting so good. But in that moment, I hear that as a dad, and like, you laugh a little bit on the inside, but then you're like, I should correct him on like not cussing. But in that moment, I was like, I get it. He really wanted, and as I go over to him, he says, he's like, I really wanted to hit that jump. So then my brain goes from like, shouldn't be cussing, little dude, to like, dude, I get it. You're frustrated. You want to hit the jump? Like, let's go hit the jump. But then he was like, it's hard because I'm his dad. So like, I know his fake cry or like his like unnecessary cry. So I'm like, dude, stop crying. Take your board off. You want something and it doesn't go your way? Well, try it again. Let's work for it. Let's go get it. And he's like, I don't want to carry my snowboard. I'm like, well, you got to carry your board because I'm not going to carry your board. And like, that's not how life. He's like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, well, sometimes you got to do things you don't want to do in life. Like, it was like a really good moment for me to teach him multiple lessons. And like, so many people are like, don't tell him not to cry. And it's like, there's a difference between like you're hurt and you need to cry, or like you're emotionally broken and you need to like let it out. And hey, you can be pissed, but you can be pissed in like I'm going to go like get revenge. Like I am in control way. I'm pissed off, instead of a like, I'm pissed, life's not fair, I'm going to cry about it way, if that makes sense.
No, there's the nobody cares, work harder type of moment. And then there's the, like I'm in physical pain, I broke my foot type, like there's two different types of crying. And I think that was a really good life lesson, bro. And I'm happy that you did that to him, to be honest. And Chris was telling me that you told him to be tough on Roman when he's like teaching Roman some stuff. And that's good. I'm happy to hear that, bro. Cause that's something that the younger generation nowadays doesn't get. It's more of like, here's your participation award and don't worry, it's okay to be bad. Like, it's great that you're pushing him. And
I don't want him to live in this world of just getting complimented. He's going to have a bunch of like, it just happened even like at Bristol yesterday, and I put a tutu on her, and like, she can't move on the mountain without getting stopped a trillion times. Like, she's adorable. She's so cute. Like same thing with Roman. Like, dude, he's running so good. He's ripping it. And once he like, it's going to click very, very soon. Like, I think within the next 2 or 3, where he's going to be like carving his snowboard. And then he's going to like, people are going to ride by him like, he's amazing. He's this, he's that. But then all of a sudden he's with like me, Cody, Nate, like all these other dudes. And like, when we're like, hey Roman, that was good. Like, go bigger. Like, hey Roman, like, that wasn't quite what you need to be doing, And he's like, okay, well, like, yeah, people like the outside saying awesome, but like the people that I know, love, and care are telling me like it could be better. You could do good. Like, obviously we're going to give him compliments, but I don't want him to grow up in this false, like, oh, I'm just amazing and I just get praised. It's like, no, Chris, like, let him know like when he's not doing that great.
I do want to touch on something. This is probably unpopular opinion.
Oh God.
Well, not necessarily a bad way, but so going back to his little damn it, Roman is 7, right?
Yeah, he's 7.
So I don't necessarily think that I don't think that he should be cussing. But even as a Christian, I do cuss. I know that there's a right place, like time and place for it, and I know that there's an appropriate way of doing it. And I love, I believe I'm blanking on his name. Who's the entrepreneur that really likes the Jets? Gary Vee. He has a stance with cussing, and he pushes this towards his kids as well, which once again, I don't actually think your kids should be doing it, but he's like, I cuss because that's the way I feel. And I'm going to do it right now, but he's like, if I'm mad, I'm not just, I think there's like, I'm mad right now, or I'm fucking mad right now. There are two differences, and that cuss word does add emphasis on it, right? And so Roman's little damn it right here, like he was frustrated. He was so frustrated, and that was the word that expressed his emotion. And I think that that's like that, in my opinion, like that is fine. Now, once again, he's 7, so that crosses a little gray area where I'm like, he's maybe not old enough, but at least he used it in the right context and everything. But no, like I think that there's a place for cuss words, and like as long as you're being appropriate with it and you're not being immature with it and things along those lines, like yeah, that's how he felt. He was frustrated. He's like, damn it, and that's the way he feels, you know.
I know, and like if you snowboarded and you like ridden parks, stuff like that, you've been in that moment where like that jump line was busy. There's a lot of people waiting, so he waited a couple minutes to get his window. You know, he fell once going in. I took it out. He fell once, got up, fell again. Now not only did he fall and it hurt, not only did he really want to hit the jump, now he's embarrassed. Like every level of frustration. And so yeah, he didn't choose the, oh gosh darn it, oh ratatouille. Like, he was pissed, man. And like, I get it. That's why I took him to the side of the jump. I was like, dude, I get it. We're not gonna let this thing, like, we're not just gonna rat away like we lost. Like, we're not gonna lose. Like, we can take our power back, dude. We can go like tell this jumper we own it. Like, let's unstrap, let's get up there. But I ain't carrying your board. If it was Bristol, I would have carried her board. She's my princess.
I think, yeah, and something, I'm not saying like that you did anything, like I'm not trying to push my opinion on you, but what you did is 100%, like that's great. Like honestly, it was a really good dad moment, and I'm happy that you were able to share that. I would just be like, listen, Roman, I don't want to carry my board either, but I got to carry my board. You know, like that's just the reality in life. It's like, I say that a lot where to people when they're like, I don't want to do this. It's like, I don't want to do it either, but guess what? We got to do it. Like that.
Next time I'm like, you don't want to carry your board. Well, you're also carrying my board, so deal with it.
Well, now you got 2 boards. One's twice your size.
Cry like a little baby.
Figure it out. But no, bro, that's once again, we talk about it all the time about how awesome it is that we filmed our first season together and all that stuff. And like, you're filming these moments with Rowan, like you're filming, like capturing that moment is something that you can look back on. And like that, I believe in, because you have kids, I'm sure you have, you watched the Inside Out movie, right? By Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a phenomenal movie at like helping explain the way that the brain works to not only kids, but also just like to your average adult. And it's not that I didn't know how the brain works, but it's like, it just gives you a really cool perspective on it. And one thing I really like is that like core memory aspect of it, where there's a moment in your life where you like, it just like, there's a memory you have that just sticks with you. And I've got a handful in my head and things along those lines. But for Roman, like that could be a core memory. And not only does he have that memory forever of him being like, I was frustrated and my dad said, like, it's okay, be frustrated, but we're going to deal with this the right way. But now he also had, like, there's footage of it and you have that like moment. And that's so cool.
Yeah. Oh, and so like, one, that's why I love, not to plug or whatever, but that's why I love the Insta360, because it's in 360 mode. I'm not worried about filming in that moment. I'm just being a dad. You know, I'm just holding a camera. Does that make sense? So I get to like, I wasn't even thinking about what the camera was doing. Does that make sense?
I want to almost make this into a short, so let's try to word this properly, where it's like the way that you were able to get that
I just
footage.
hit record, and
Go ahead.
You want me to break down how the camera works? Because it's a 360 camera, so you just hit record, and it captures everything around. So as a dad with your kids, it's amazing because you hit record, and then you just hold this stick at your hip height, and it's going to capture everything. So now I don't need to worry about, is Roman in frame? Am I in frame? Is this or that? No, I just hit record and I'm with Roman. And I love it because it just allows me to be in the moment with him and be present with him. So when he does fall and yells, damn it, and is frustrated, I can go over there and manage him and help him and do all that without having to, put the camera in the right spot, put the camera in his face, whatever. The camera never once was shoved into his face. I'm like, Roman, how are you feeling? Are you a little upset right now with a little dude? I just had a moment with my son. And then that's why I love the Insta360 cameras so much. Like they're incredible for just allowing you to be in the moment. And then this is a really dark angle, but the reality is that what I do is dangerous. Like last year I was caught in a small avalanche, and I've kept it offline. This is kind of actually the first time we ever bring it up. And like, that was a very real, scary moment. And so I have this thought of like, I could be like, even inbounds at a basin, miss a step and then fall down the couloir and hit a rock. Like, it could happen. It happens all the time. And I'm out there all the time. So like, yes, I could die doing what I love. And if I did, at least Roman and Bristol will legitimately know who their dad was. And Roman would have his whole life being able to go back to that moment and process like how his dad handled being a dad and handled going through a moment like that. And like, I think that's really special and really unique and new as well. And also he's got 38 episodes of podcasts to listen to his dad's opinions and the way his dad thought and things like that. So obviously that's very dark, and I'm not going to go anywhere definitely anytime soon. But
no, I've talked about it on the podcast. I don't like thinking about it, but it's like with you being a snowboarder and doing the dangerous activities that you do them to the safest ability you can, but anything can happen. So there's that, and then also Tyler being a firefighter. Like my brothers have dangerous jobs, and the last thing I want to do is lose you guys. But I also have thought about the sad reality that if anything does happen to you, I'm gonna have to edit your very last podcast or your very last vlog, and I'm not looking forward to that day. So please don't let that day come.
I'm sitting on on 4 or 6 right now, between 4 and 6 vlogs. So how's your hands full?
I'll let Cody take care of the other ones. I'll edit your last one.
Team effort.
But no, it is a reality, and I'm happy that you take your precautions, bro. I'm happy that you have your avalanche training, and I'm happy that you do wear your helmet, and I'm happy that you have that risk reward factor. You're willing to do crazy stuff, but you're not willing to risk your life to get something for content, and that's awesome, and that's respectable, especially being a dad of 2, and you've got a legacy to leave. So let's change subject. Now
that we're crying. Side note, I guess Kenny listens to the podcast. I love Kenny. He made resortskimaps.com, and he's already coming up with a way of how to implement all the runs of the ski resort. So if I do all top to bottom runs, he's figuring out how to implement that onto resortskimaps.com. So you can I'm going to Keystone, or I'm going to go Keystone and Brex. I have Epic Pass. I'm going to Colorado. These are the 2 I'm going to ride. And then you'd be able to watch the runs.
Listen, as soon as you said it, I instantly thought of this. So Kenny, now that you're listening, apparently Johnathan said you're listening. So Kenny, what if you click on the on Keystone, and then he already has it. Never mind. We have great minds think alike, Kenny, and so do ours. Because
Kenny is a great.
I clicked on it, and my thought was just show the map of the resort, and then have the the little like videos pop up there, and that's exactly what he already has up. So if you click on Keystone and then it shows the resort map, it then shows you the Mozart run and the Spring Dipper run. So he already thought of it. I thought of it as well. It was my idea first, Kenny, okay? It was my but no, that's great. Good job, Kenny. Already on it. Kenny's the best, dude. Kenny's the best.
Dude, Kenny is the best. Another thing that's really cool is, so we went to Breckenridge, and Roman did the top to bottom for the green run, like the beginner green run.
So you're gonna post the top to bottom of Roman?
Yeah. So at Breck, the run's called Silverthorn. Actually, it's under the Silver Spoon chairlift. It's their main green beginner run. You're a beginner. This is the run to do. And Roman was the subject riding. I filmed and did all the talking, but Roman was the rider.
No, that makes a lot of sense. That's awesome, dude. Like, because Roman is most, and like this is, I've touched on it. Of like, I want to go snowboarding with you guys really bad, and I'm not joking. I was literally just thinking about. Anyways, like Roman is most definitely good enough at snowboarding to where you could do a top to bottom with Roman. Like that's awesome that you took that opportunity already to do that, because he can ride down the mountain really well, and I want to go riding with him so bad, bro. I do. I was just thinking about how like I wouldn't say I'm frustrated, but like every weekend for the last like literally 2 months has had a billion things going on for me, but I'm like, I just want to find a time where I can just go up to the mountains for like probably like midday on Saturday, spend the night and leave on Sunday, and like but just like do something with you guys, like go ride or do something, because I want to hang out with you guys. We just
have the backyard terrain park too.
No, that's exactly, and like because I don't have a pass.
Don't even have to buy a pass.
It's just right now we got our dogs, and I know that you guys would be comfortable with me bringing Shadow up, but then we've got like our 2 little dogs, so we got to find a place for them. And it's not that you wouldn't be open to like you've invited Sarah's dogs up, so it's not that Jonathan's saying that I can't bring my dogs. I just don't think that
we're anti-small dogs.
Yeah, well, my dogs are they like one of them, Frankie. He's older. He doesn't like kids. Don't know why. He doesn't like kids. Kirsty's nephew, or our nephew, but on Kirsty's side, Frankie has been a part of this kid's life since he was born. He's 6, and like Frankie's been there the entire time, and he does not like the kid, and he doesn't do anything to Frankie. He's not mean or anything. Frankie just doesn't like him. So I'm like, I'm not gonna bring him up to your house where you got 2 kids that he doesn't know. Like, he's not gonna enjoy that. And then Nolan, he would love your kids. He would want to he'll like bark at them to get them to pet him. Like, he'll bark at them for attention. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that to you, bro. So it's like, I got to find a place for them. And then also just like, that's a portion of like my week. It's a portion of my week that's just, it's not there. Like I'm sacrificing 6 hours driving and all that stuff. So it's a commitment, No,
dude, it's hard to, like, even for us to go down for Christmas and like figuring all that out, it's a lot. And that's why I've actually really enjoyed this podcast, because because what was happening is our lives were busy and we just weren't talking. And that's what kind of happens with me and our other siblings. Sarah's really good at Snapchatting, so we're pretty caught up in Sarah's life. But for the most part, with every other sibling, they know what's going on. But now that we podcast together, I feel like even though we don't get to see each other, I know what's going on with you, which is really awesome.
I do miss that. And this is another, I want to say, dark conversation, but being number one, the youngest, but also being who I am and not having kids, it separates me from my siblings, and you may like, not everyone sees it, and that's fine, and maybe you do see it, and that's fine too, but like Johnathan and I were extremely close, but admittedly, like after you had kids, you had to become a dad and you had to make changes, and then also your YouTube took off and everything, and like that did change our trajectory, and also me moving away changed our trajectory. And I'm not blaming it on kids, but it's like there's a lot of variables. But it's like same thing with like my oldest sister Ashley. She used to be around for the holidays all the time when she lived here and everything, but then she had kids, and now it's like she has her own family and she does her own holiday stuff. And then same thing with my older sister Sarah, who has kids. It's like she we used to be a little bit closer. We used to hang out quite a bit. Now it's like she's a mom and that's what she's got to do. And so like, as you get older in life, you naturally, especially as like kids come along or as, jobs take over or as you move, things along those lines, like you just kind of separate. And so this podcast is a great opportunity for us to make, I wouldn't say excuse, but like make a reason to still be really close brothers and talk. And I do appreciate that, bro. I had another point. One second. Shoot. What were we talking about?
Babies. I know you're on the not having kids, but I was requested a podcast topic.
Okay.
Because if you don't mind giving me the grace to answer this real quick, someone was like, "Hey, I can read it actually verbatim." I took a screenshot of it. And the reason why I didn't bring it up last episode was because I know you're not a dad. But he said, JB and Ben should talk about your experience when you found out you were going to be a dad and any advice you have for dads to be. So if you don't mind me quickly answering that, bro, I will go after it.
Of course, go for it. I'm going to try to think about what I was talking about.
Yeah, you think I'm a vomit from the mouth. All right. From my experience, being a dad is super rad. But when I found out I was going to be a dad, it was one of those things where me and Bobby were like, "Hey, we should have kids." Like, yeah, let's have kids. Let's pull the goalie. And I scored first shot. So it was one of those things where we're like, "Okay, let's have kids." And we're like, maybe we should, too late. It doesn't matter. You're going to be a dad. So of course I was like hyped, but at the moment I was working at Target, only making like $49,000 a year. And I was like, okay, well, I got to ramp up my life. And that is when I went on full blown figure it out mode. And I think a lot of parents and people, that happens because when it's just you, it's just your significant other, they're working a job, you're working a job. Like, yes, you could always go make more money. Is it always necessary? No, you kind of can just chill. But then when you're like, oh man, like I'm going to be a dad and I'm going to need more space and we're going to need to get some stuff. It's like, okay, I already know that like the money I'm making is not going to be enough. And then also like I wanted my wife to not work. So I was like, okay, I need to go make like double my money. And we talked about, we're religious on this thing. And I do think God made it to where I couldn't get the promotion that I thought I wanted at Target. I think there was a purposeful block on them not giving me that promotion that I fully deserved and was fully capable of doing in order for me to go find that next level up job. And I found a job that literally paid me double what I was making at Target. And that worked for a moment until they cut my pay $20,000 because I went from salary or commission to salary. And so then that opened up the door to quit everything and go all in on YouTube. But the point I'm trying to get at is when I became a dad, I really took it on myself to be like, okay, like no more games, like literally no more video games. Like it's on, like I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to provide and I'm going to be the raddest, person for my family. That being said, one thing I like to say to new parents is, especially dads, and no one ever says this, for me personally, when I first saw Roman and for the first 3 months of Roman's life, I was like, that's my kid. It looks like me, but that's it. Like I didn't feel that insane parent bond until Roman got about 3 months and then started like grabbing my fingers and looking me in the eyes and smiling at me. Once all of that started happening, then I really, really felt that parent bond. Until then, I didn't really feel it so much. I think females get that right away because they are growing the baby, they feel the baby, and then they have the baby. And then with your second child, it's totally different. With Bristol, I felt it immediately. I was like, that's my baby, and we connected, and it was amazing. But with Roman, for like literally like 3 months, I was like, am I broken? Like, I don't feel this like parent connection everyone talks about. And then the last thing I want to say about being a parent is I highly encourage anyone to become a parent because I don't feel like you can truly feel what love is like until you become one. And it's not the love that you have for your kid. It's the love that you receive from your kid. You will never be loved like a 1 to 5 year old loves you. It's like it's truly unconditional. It's the most insane love you'll ever experience, and it's only from 1 to 5. And then once they hit 5, they stop giving a crap about you. They go on with their life. But from 1 to 5, eat it up. You'll never feel like love. Like you'll never feel love like that again. And that's everything I have to say about being a parent. Did you remember what you were saying, bro?
I didn't, but I would like to give my perspective on this answer as somebody that's most likely, I don't even know how to say it, but somebody that's not on the fence of like gonna have kids anytime soon. So something that is contradictory to what we talk about of like, just start it, just go do it, just do it, blah, blah. For kids, I don't believe that is the right approach. I don't think that's the right approach at all. But no, as somebody that's a non-emotional thinker, I have emotional thinking, but it's more so like I try to think about things as logical as possible. I want to give my perspective on this, especially as it is a hot conversation in my life. And that's there's never a perfect time to make a decision like having a kid, but there's most definitely wrong times to make the decision to have a kid. There's never a perfect time, but there's bad times. Yeah. there's a meme I've seen where it's like a boy that's like, I'm unemployed and I live in my mom's basement, and then like a girl's like, I work at a coffee shop, and they're like, let's have a kid. It's like, that's not what you should do. But no, I think that there's
I will say,
okay, go ahead.
I will say, if you are a younger person or a person that's like not in the best spot, and then you get a girl pregnant, you have 9 months to figure it out. You know how much you can change your life in 9 months? And arguably, you have more time than that, because once the kid shows up, like the first 3 months, it is a sack of potatoes. It doesn't move. It doesn't cry. It doesn't do anything. It's just there. You know, so you truly have like from moment of like, oh no, what am I going to do? Well, if you from that moment start taking action, you can fully become a different person.
So the problem, let me go back to what I was, like, let me finish this and then let me go back to what I was saying. But the problem with that, bro, is that modern day people don't see time that way. They're like, oh, I've got 9 months to figure this out. I've got 9 months to figure this out. And then they're like, I've got 6 months to figure this out. And I've got 3 months to figure this out. The baby is here tomorrow. Like, you know, it's like, as much as you're right, a lot can change in 9 months. That's not how the average person thinks. So I don't want you to don't take that advice if you can't take that advice. Okay. But no, so there's two sides of this conversation, and I think that's the approach that you're going with. But let me say this side. So, I don't like, kind of like what Johnathan was saying. I'm not saying that Johnathan did it the wrong way, because he most definitely clutched up and his life has only gone up since having kids. But it's like, realistically, I was living with Johnathan and Bobby in a 2-bedroom apartment when they had Roman, and it just, I wouldn't say it wasn't working, but it's like that eventually, like, they outgrew it. Like, we all outgrew it. We needed to kind of like, there needed to be some changes made. And so, you know, like, if you're in a situation where you can barely afford the house that you're in right now, and it's already not big enough for you, having a kid is probably not the smartest decision. Or it's also like what Johnathan was saying, where he's like, I want Bobby to be a stay-at-home mother, which is, I think, a great opportunity for a lot of people, right? And so you have to figure out, like, is my wife going to be a stay-at-home mom, or is she going to work? And also, we have to figure out how to pay for daycare, right? There's a lot of decisions that are made after having a kid, and so it's not just like a go do it type of mentality of like, ooh, I want a kid, let's go have a kid together. And then you're like, wait a minute, we both make $13 an hour. Like, this isn't going to work, you know? So you have to kind of, in my opinion, is like, you kind of have to set yourself up for success when it comes to having a kid. And like, that's in my opinion, the best approach to it. So before you go start shooting your shots, make sure that you got a place for the shots to land type of deal. That's the way I feel about it. But I heard something recently that I really liked, and it was talking about how, let's say you live in an apartment and it's not awful, but it's not great. It's that alone, like you'll be like, it's got its flaws, like, you know, I'm trying to make it sound bad, but like the example that they give, which I don't appreciate, but the example that they give was like, there's a little bit of mold in that corner right there, but it's not that bad. It is what it is. Like that right there is almost like for some people, not for me, but like for some people, that's like a safe spot where they're like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It is what it is. If you were in a worse situation where you're like, the apartment is covered in mold, it's going to motivate you to make changes. It's going to push you to be like, this is awful. I need to get out of here type of moment. And it was a different perspective for me, because I was like, yeah, there's being in that comfortability, being in that safe net of like, oh, it's not terrible, so I guess I'll deal with it, versus this is awful, I need to get out of it. Like those are two different experiences, and it's almost better to be in the this is awful, because it motivates you to make changes and puts you in a way better situation.
You know, it's funny you bring that up, because literally me and Bobby this morning are going to go look at a different place to rent, like a bigger house. And it's one of those things where like, this place has been awesome for a long time, but we're like kind of outgrowing it. Like the outside space is so abundant and amazing, and I love having the backyard park. I mean, I could live here forever. I have all the space I need. But in reality, Roman, Bristol, Bobby don't have the spaces that they need and want inside. And so Bobby's, and it helps that having a spouse, and that's why you have a teammate. She's like, hey, like, it's okay here, but like, there's better out there. There's better out there. So like, throughout the summer, we were looking to buy something, and the reality is where I live, I'm not going to be able to buy something up here anytime soon, unless you guys keep buying Evolution stickers, like a lot of them. And I've talked about my struggles of the channel and having to try and figure out this new landscape and dealing with things. But the point I'm getting at is like, it's good to be like, this isn't ideal. There's better out there. And then go look at it. Go look at better. We are going to go look at this 5-bedroom house that in reality, as I sit here in this chair, I can't figure out how to pay this thing, like the rent for it, but let's go look at it. Let's see if it like all of a sudden it's like, no, this is like we got to figure this out. Like this is what we need. And this is amazing. And if that is the case, there's a weird thing in human nature where you just start figuring it out. Like, that's why I try to tell people when they're like, should I like go all in YouTube? Should I do this with whatever? And I'm like, dude, you're human. You're going to do whatever it takes to survive and to your standard of living. You know, some people have like a low standard of living and all they need to be is comfortable. Some people have high standards of living and they need to be like beyond comfortable, you know? So I guess what the point I'm trying to get at is like, we're going to go look at this place to rent that we're more than likely not going to rent, but hopefully it can spark the right spark where all of a sudden it's like, I'm ready to put in that extra 2 hours a day now to get us out of this spot type thing. Where like in reality, I'm pretty comfortable in this chair and in this house and I can be here forever. My family is kind of like, hey, it's a little tight. And Rome and Bristol were sharing a room. We just separated them again. We put the gym back in the garage. Like we're making changes and stuff. And we're very blessed in this spot. And if we have to stay here for another year or another 5 years, like that's fine. That's reality. But we're definitely going to be looking. We're definitely going to be trying.
That's great, bro. And where I was going to just finish off that thought was, for some people, it's like when you find out that you're going to be a dad, or a mom, you know, when you find out that you're going to be a parent, your life, you kick into this mode of like, my life is not where it needs to be. I need to make changes as soon as possible. And you do, and you kill it, and you stand out. You become this next level person, and you take care of stuff. You know, you get stuff done. I'm using a different word there, so just remember that. But No, the sad thing though is, or not the sad thing, but like once again going back to there's never a perfect time to have kids, but there's most definitely wrong times. Like I don't think that you should risk being that person if you're not already that person. If that makes any sense, as in like I wouldn't be like, I mean, yeah, I'll get pregnant and I'll just figure it out. Yeah, I'll figure it out. Like, if you haven't figured it out on your own, what makes you think that moment of like, oh, I'm going to be a dad is like, it's too risky for you to just be like, oh, I'm going to figure it out. Like, I don't think that's worth the risk at the moment. Like you need to figure it out a little bit before you just like go and make this life altering decision. So I do think that,
bro, if you got pregnant, I think the world would figure it out for you. It would be so impressed if you got pregnant.
if I got pregnant, yeah, science would be really crazy.
You were like, I'm gonna go get pregnant. Like it just the way you worded it. So
well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I'm trying to crack it.
But
so we can move on from that topic. That was requested.
That's fine.
I think life is hard, man. I think that's the one thing that I've learned, especially after like leveling up a lot and then being like, okay, like I've got my family in a house and like I've made good money and I've had employees, I've done a lot, but like life doesn't let up, man. It doesn't get easier. It just gets different hard.
As I'm getting older and as I'm like, you know, a married man, and as I have my in-laws and I have my own family, like you're right, life doesn't get up. And I just said it earlier, how it's like for the last 2 months, every weekend has been filled with something. It's always like, all right, what are we doing this week? Okay, we got to go to Denver to go see the in-laws, or oh, but my family's in town, so we're gonna go do this, or oh, but I got to go film something for Johnathan, or oh, but like got to go do this, or oh, like just even if it's not with them, it's like, all right, well, I've got a ton to do this week. Like we have to do loads of laundry, and you know, we have a couple projects around the house that we got to do. Like life never calms down. It never calms down. There may be a calm moment, but there's never like life always just keeps going. It just keeps going. But that's what's amazing about it, and that's something we talked about last podcast of like being busy is good. Being busy is a good thing, and that's just because like that's just life. You're always going to be busy. There's always going to be something to do. It never lets up. So just you gotta keep pushing. You got to keep doing.
But then when those calm moments present themselves, like take them and be present. I think that's where I'm a little frustrated, because like in the summertime or like in the slower times, I definitely can like take those moments to be more present. But sadly, right now, I'm like trying to get the edit done myself. Still got 3 shorts to post later in the day. All of a sudden, it's 8 p.m. and Bristol like wants to hang out. I'm like, hold on, I got like 1 more short to post and things like that. I hate it. But thankfully, like I took Bristol snowboarding yesterday morning, and like once again, I did that with the 360 camera, so I could just like hit record, and then I'm just like with her, and we just had like the raddest time snowboarding. So, I don't know.
Well, I think that's a great way to end the podcast. So life never calms down, but if it ever does calm down, enjoy the moment. If you're going to have a kid, make sure you think about life before doing so. Don't have a kid without really planning or having
just have kids. We need more babies. Just have kids. I'm on the fence. Just have them. We need more babies.
Anyways, I think this was a killer episode, guys. I mentioned last week's episode. It was already linked from there. This was episode 38, bro. And I didn't really put 2 and 2 together that you're right, that like Roman has 38 episodes. Roman and Bristol have 38 episodes that they can listen back to and hear their uncle and their dad talk about philosophical things, talk about having kids, talk about being a cool dad, talk about making YouTube content, and just the way our brains operate. And I think that's a really cool thing. So I love doing this with you, bro.
The sad reality is they'll never listen to it.
We can't even get them to listen to them now.
I can't even get to watch my YouTube videos with them in it. Okay.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching, listening, commenting, being a part of the conversation. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for your time. We really do appreciate it. Do you have anything else to say, bro?
No, just like and subscribe. Thanks for supporting. This podcast is rad. I love having it as an avenue to be my true self or our true selves. And I don't know. Life is tough. Go get it, guys. Go work hard. 1% better every day.
Nobody cares. Work harder. All right. See you guys next
Peace.
week. Peace.